Welcome to the TLW podcast. I'm Jonathan Pixley, along with my partners, Jase and Owens and Jase Augustus. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the first ever TLW podcast. So we are super excited to be here with you guys. And we're going to get into today, I'm going to introduce these two guys a little bit more. And then we'll talk a little bit about how TLW was actually formed, the history behind it, and then where we're going. And that'll pretty much wrap our introductory podcast. But you'll see and get a feel for where we're moving from here. Really, really excited to be here with you guys. Brief introduction here. Jase Owens is a very, very successful dentist here in town, a former player of mine. I'll get to my background after these two guys. But he played basketball for me in high school, and we've just maintained a connection, and he is now a partner with me here at TLW. And Jase, why don't you, first of all, welcome, and then why don't you introduce yourself a little bit more?
Glad to be here. Yeah, that's very kind of you to say player. I did a great job at holding the bench down, and JV was probably more of a place for me to shine than varsity. But graduated from Donovan 02. I had the opportunity to play basketball for you. Fun fact, at one time, Jonathan Pixley was the JV coach. That was a very short-lived thing, obviously.
One year.
Wow.
Okay.
That was a very short-lived thing as he progressed into the position of full-time coach. Maintained a relationship. He was also my track coach. We got some fun stories we can share about that in the future.
Oh, track
coach.
Okay. Yeah. What?
Back then, just to clarify, basically, if you were on staff, you had to coach two sports.
Really?
And so they were like, yeah, we don't have a track coach, so go ahead and do it. And track was Jase was a track star who ended up going to LSU to run as well, set records at long distance, cross country, all that. And so I left out that. He played for me. Basketball was definitely a hobby for him.
It was a great way to pass the time.
Yeah, but he was an amazing runner. How many two-time state champion?
Two-time. There were some events along the way with people telling me to go the wrong way in the state cross country meet that we won't dive into much. But what it all amounted to is we spent a lot of time together, and one of the things that we'll be talking about in the future is a subject that I'm passionate about. We call real, recognize real, and there are things that I see in Jonathan Pixley's eyes that I like to emulate. I like to look up to, and we've maintained the relationship since then. Things are full circle. I've got kids at the same school that Jonathan coached me at. I'm coaching track and cross country now by choice. It used to be the track coach at Dunham was we need somebody.
Not a prestigious position.
Yeah, but it's something I'm passionate about. I love. I practice here in Baton Rouge, and just enjoying life and then truly learning to embrace the journey as opposed to look at the destination the whole time. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And Jase Augustus, another former player of mine. Let's see, I guess you were part of 3 state championship teams, a starter on 2 of those teams, recently come on as a partner for TLW. He will be in charge of basically all of the things that Jase and I know nothing about, which is technology and social media and
setting this whole thing up.
Setting this entire podcast up. So when we have any questions, we don't really ask questions. We just listen to answers that he has about those things. But he's an amazingly talented young guy who is going to use this as well to help promote his own business that he is running as well. So we're super excited to have you. Jase, tell him a little more.
Yeah. So played 5 years for Pix. 8th grade, came in like the midway.
Yeah, that's right. You were called up.
Yeah, called up in the middle. They recruited. And then we went up. We did that first state championship appearance. Lost that one, and then ever since that, fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Made a run at 3 back-to-back junior and senior year. After that, played ball for 2 years, and then I was broke as a joke in college. I was at JUCO, so that's nothing flashy at all. Nothing like NIL now these days. But I was broke, needed some money, and then started doing some freelance social media marketing. Once I retired, decided to try to pursue as a business. This year it really picked up. And so, I'm just happy to be here with you guys doing that. The business is JCB Media, social media marketing for local businesses in Baton Rouge. And so this is just a part of that. Pix called or texted me up and said, "Do you know anything about podcasts?" I was like, kinda. We can figure it out together.
That's right.
And so that's what we're doing, man. And so I'm excited. I believe in the mission that you guys have. Being able to talk more and more with you guys about this, about what you're really trying to do at the heart of it. It's pure. And so, I'm absolutely down for that and to invest my time and not only you guys, but the business as well. So absolutely love it.
Well, this is really, really special for me, right? Because I've got guys that have developed a relationship with over time, guys that I trust, guys that we've been in the wars too, right? And seen it, and now we are thinking bigger picture with everything that we're doing. We're, out of the athletic realm, although a lot of what we talk about, we'll be using athletic analogies with for sure. My background is in the athletic world, of course. I grew up here in Baton Rouge. I played at Catholic high school, was fortunate enough to earn a Division I scholarship to go play at Samford University. And had a great career there, very successful. Aspirations, of course, like everybody, to go play in the NBA. Had a shot at that. I definitely would have gone and made money playing basketball somewhere, whether it be overseas or in the NBA. But got to go work out with the Spurs in LA and have a couple of other teams looking. So ended up in the summer league, the NBA summer league back then. It was out in Long Beach, right outside of LA. And I think it was like the third game that I was out there. I ripped my knee to shreds for the second time. I had come back from it in college once, but this time, that was 100 years ago. So you didn't come back from it then. And so came back to Baton Rouge, and to make a long story short, got into coaching and ended up at the Dunham School here in Baton Rouge, where I used to make fun of guys whenever I was in college for the ones that were studying to be high school teachers and coaches. I was like, crazy. Why would you do that? You can't support family. You're not going to be able to, ever enjoy quality of life. And I get into that world pretty quickly because I wanted to stay around the game. And 21 years later, I was still doing it. We had, like I said, some success. I think our last 5 years, we went to 5 state finals in a row, won 3 of them. It was a really, really special time, the relationships that I got to develop along the way and maintain those relationships for sure. And so what ended up happening, and this is crazy how TLW ended up coming about. So this young guy, not as young as you, but this young guy next to me, I see him. I think it was either my second to last year coaching, or it might even been my last year coaching. I can't remember. I see you at an event at Dunham. Right?
Y'all used to do this this thing where it's pretty cool. They still do it. The high school athletes would have all the lower school athletes come in and just kind of do a day of showing them what it's like, with practice and some of the basic things they do in volleyball and in football. And so, I saw you, and I said I need some help. Take it from there.
Yeah. And so he said, look, coach, do you do any type of leadership training or executive training, coaching? And I said, well, I don't, but I'll let you know if I find somebody who does. He goes, no. If you do it, I'll be your first client. And y'all know how I am, because y'all are wired very similarly. The way I am put together, the next day I went to work putting together a template for what this would look like. And just to see. And I probably spent a couple of weeks on it, called you back and said, hey, man, I got something. I don't know if it's anything, but we'll give it a shot. And put together over time, several meetings that we ended up spending about a year together on. And so TLW was off and running with one client at that point. I never really thought that it would grow to anything, but probably about the 4 to 5 month mark of you and I working together, one of my good friends who runs an installation company out of Memphis calls me, and we stay in communication constantly. And he just asked me what was going on. And I mentioned that I kind of walked into this deal with a former player of mine, and he's like, oh, that's really interesting. He calls me back a few weeks later and is like, what would you think about doing that with my leadership team here at our company? And I said, yeah, I'll do it. And, I'm doing that via Zoom with them because they're all based out of Memphis and really all over the country. And it's grown big time. And so for about 2 to 3 years, I did that with no thought of growing it because when I stepped away from high school coaching, not because I didn't love high school coaching, I just wanted to go do other things. I got in, we have our own facility that me and my wife run here in town, big 30,000 square foot gym that basketball and volleyball go on inside. We have, I got involved in the NIL world, right, as well, because I wanted to be a founder of a company and have equity in a company that was doing that. And so along that time, I really just kind of did with what I had with TLW. I didn't look to grow it. And then about a year and 2-3 months ago, it was November of 23. I said, let's kind of soft launch it and let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
And made people aware of it through the incredibly limited knowledge that I have of social media. And it took off a little bit. And so we decided, look, there's something to this because you came back to me asking for another round.
Remedial. I'm a slow learner, and so I figured I might as well soak it up again. Absolutely.
And so, when you and I got back together, I just started thinking, and look, we're not going to be ashamed to talk about this. This is a God thing, right? For us.
Yep.
And I, when you walked in to the coffee shop that day, I was like, my guy is looking for some more direction in this. And so I just thought, wow, I think this is something that we could work together on. And then over time, I see you start to grow your business through social media because, look, when I first joined Facebook, okay, I didn't know if it was called Facegram, Instabook, whatever. Okay, I literally had when I got on Facebook, I had people go, "Is this really Coach Pixley?"
Yeah.
I would have people text me and go, "Coach, I think somebody's using your name."
Because you were like a late bloomer to it for sure.
Oh, I was completely opposed to it.
Yeah.
I was like, "There's only bad things that can come from this, right?" And so I see you growing on it. I reached out. I was like, "Well, we need to do more with social media." And who better to do it with than like with you as a guy I've known forever and a former player than another former player.
Yeah.
So that's where we are today. I'm going to let these guys talk a little bit about the direction that we're heading and where they see not only the company heading, but their role in the company. And Sean, I'm going to let you take it.
I see the company doing a lot of things that really we didn't really see initially. We just, to be blunt, we saw this as being a great thing that a lot of individuals could benefit from. We prayed about it.
Yep.
We spent a lot of time in prayer, talked to some of our pastor friends about it. And really, we see this as being something which helps people go from good to great.
Yep.
I think at the end of the day, what I'm passionate about, I know what you're passionate about, and Jase, you the same way, is creating an environment that you have, or helping to set the thermostat for the environment that you're a part of. Yeah. And if you can have a positive impact on the individuals around you to help them become a better version of themselves, that's really what this is all about. And I see TLW advancing to a place where we're doing that not just through the personal communication, which you've already been doing for years, but taking this into a different sphere, which really meets individuals with their incredibly busy schedules these days in a way that they can get the content when they need it, how they need it, etc. Not everybody has time at 6 a.m. Now, our first iteration of this was a 6 a.m. thing twice a week, and it didn't go over as we wanted it to. But really, at the end of the day, we just looked at this as a pivot, and it's like, okay, we knew that we needed to broaden our horizons, expand, and that's what this is an expansion of that. My role in this is to get into helping out with some of the personal coaching, and to continue looking at some visions that we have. We talked about it. We got some exciting things that we're looking at doing with further investing in some online opportunities for people, and then really just having some faith that this will grow organically, and God's fingerprints are on this, and just trying to stay along for the ride.
And to piggyback on that before I hand it over to Jase, I think one of the main reasons I got out of high school coaching, like I said, I wanted to go do some other things, but um, I had it in my head when I was sitting in a locker room or a film room and I'm talking to a group, right? Whether it be pregame, halftime, postgame, practice, whatever. That there are 15 to 20 guys in here, right? What if there was 150 to 200? What if there was 1,500 to 2,000? What if, you keep adding the zeros to it? And I just felt this overwhelming tug that if you have the ability to influence people, why not influence as many as you possibly can?
Yeah.
And that is not in any way, shape, y'all know this. There's not in any way, shape, or form me saying that I have that ability. I think we have that ability. And I think that we know people who have that ability. And that's really what this is about. Jase, can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So I saw, when you were building up TLW initially, and of course that was fitting, just because I spent time in those locker rooms, the pregame talks, the practice talks, the spirit of excellence that you held everyone accountable to. And so I figured that would work out. What I was really excited about is when I saw y'all were doing the TLW build aspect, the young people aspect. And I think I even texted you, I was like, Coach, like, just saw this, man, like, I'm stoked. Like, that's gonna be awesome. And it's because I am in that target audience, right? And so I think that's something else that I add to this. Not only the marketing aspect, but being able to have those conversations. Say like this is something that young people need. And being able to see that from a different perspective, rather than outside looking in, like being on the inside, like this is what's going on. And I think we've talked about it many times. I think, especially with young people around my age, maybe 18 to 30 young adults, a lot of them just don't know how to be great. I think a lot of them have the potential to be good. A lot of them may even be good, but I think that there's you have to have systems in place. You have to have habits in place to be great. And so being able to know the content that you guys are putting out, the things that we want to be able to release to the world, kind of like you said, why put that under a shade? If you have that light, let that light spread as far as it can go. And so I think we have an obligation and accountability to do that. So I'm excited to be a part, man, and help you guys as much as I can and see what God does with it.
I love it. And in reality, and I actually start some talks like this. I'm not a fan of meetings, right? And the reason I'm not a fan of meetings, which is funny because if I go give a presentation, typically it's at a meeting.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm not a fan of meetings is because oftentimes you'll get the what, you'll get the why, you'll never get the how, right? I think our focus is, it's easy to identify the what. It's also pretty easy to identify the why. We want to talk about the how, right? Yeah. I mean, imagine if I were, okay, and I've been a basketball trainer for a long time, right? High school guys, college guys, pro guys. But imagine if I walk into a gym full of players and I go, all right, guys, I'm going to teach you guys the what, which is how to shoot a basketball properly. I'm then going to make sure you understand the why, which is so it goes in the goal more often. Thank you for having me. And I just walked out.
Yeah.
Right. We never get to the how. Our focus is on the how. And not that our how is the only how.
Yeah,
right. But I believe that we have enough to offer. And look, down the road, we're looking to have guests on the show. We're looking to involve as many people as we possibly can that we feel like can add to the mission.
Yeah.
And guys,
Absolutely.
That's what this is. This is a mission.
Yeah.
This is not just some business that we're starting up to see if we can make it. We're going to make it, first of all, okay? But we're going to make it because it is mission oriented.
Yep.
And we're all on the same page. And anybody that comes aboard will be on the same page with us. And at the end of the day, if you have a team, a real team, doesn't mean you always get along, but it does mean at the end of the day, you're rowing the boat in the same direction.
No doubt.
And we're excited about that. And so in closing, from the first TLW podcast ever, we thank you for watching. Know that there's going to be more and more content coming out. Can you talk about what they need to do here?
Yeah. So we say like, subscribe, share, tell your mama and them.
There you go.
We got a lot coming up that we're really excited to put out there for y'all. Jase, social media platforms, where are people going to be able to find all
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
content?
So we'll be on Facebook and Instagram for sure, and
For
then
sure.
also on YouTube. And then some of the stuff is going to even be on LinkedIn. So we will pretty much be anywhere that you access your content will be there. And so just keep your eyes out, keep your eyes peeled, keep coming back bi-weekly.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
now.
So for now, yeah. Everything's to be determined at this point, but
That's right.
yeah, man.
And look, we'll close like we close with everything because there's only one way to do it. Go get it.